Hello, Jantans and Jantanites. It is I, Jason Desmond from the Jantan Collective with a brand new edition of What's Up With That, where we question, we learn, and we grow. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below because we want to hear from you. Maybe it's something about what we talked about before, or maybe there's just something brand new that's just popped into your head and you want us to talk about it. Well, tell us all about it, okay? Now, I've been thinking about this a lot. Superheroes from comic books now on the big screen, making millions of dollars, right? Elon Musk is now the richest man on the planet. Space geek. And of course, esports. Video gamers are now minting it. They're making millions of dollars competing at the highest level. So this is now really the generation of the geeks. What's up with that? And of course, today we have Adam Carruthers all the way from the Northern Lights. What are you doing? Where are you?
I got a green screen so I can make everything look really
I know,
fancy.
right? I've got this new setup at home right now because we're all working from home, right? This is all new. But Adam C, radio host, TV host, gamer, very dangerous person to go shopping with because you're like walking around and come on, JD, let's go buy a PlayStation. He's that guy.
What did I get you to buy? Was it an iPad or something? A tablet?
You got me. I bought an iPad one day. I almost bought a PS. That back then it was, I think, a PS3 or
was it? Yeah. Actually, it would have been a PS3, I reckon.
Right.
It would have been
back
a PS3.
in the day, right?
Yeah.
And then I remember, and eventually I did get a PS4, but it mucked up. But anyway, dude, we are so happy to have you. We've been talking about having multiple shows together on the Jantan Collective, and finally you're on. The man who knows all about movies, TV shows, football, games, and everything. And of course, the new show is called Geektopia, man. What's it all about?
It's just about my love, my passion for all things geeky. So, like you mentioned, I do love my movies, a wide variety of movies. Love all of my TV shows. I watch far too many across multiple languages and video games. So, I mean, I'm sitting in front of the monitor I'm at is where I play my Call of Duty. So I got my controller right next to me as well. That's what it's about. There's so many people that are into this. So I thought, why don't I jump onto the bandwagon and show my love of it? And maybe that I'm more than just about football.
Exactly, because a lot of people know you as the football guy, even from way back when. Even when during your quickie days, you were big on football already. So now you just said it, like there's a lot of people doing all this tech stuff and gadgets and also gaming, whatever. So how deep into it do you get? I mean, like, is it like if I watch it, because I like my movies and stuff, but is it like too over my head?
No, it's not going to be. It's not going to be some sort of in-depth analysis which we're going to submit for an Oscar nomination sort of thing. No, it's everybody likes short content now. Everybody is more into short content than anything else. And I think I learned that. I did a conference once and Cartoon Network were there. And they were giving a presentation on stage. And they were showcasing at the time new animation that was due to come out, which has already been released. But it made me think of what I used to watch. Do you remember Batman, the animated series?
Yeah. Oh, damn, dude. We used to talk about that. Yeah, I love that.
That's, for me, possibly the greatest animation of all time. It's right up there with The Simpsons.
Because that's the one with Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Yeah, Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill. It's where Harley Quinn started. It's iconic. It's one of the best ever representations of Batman. But those episodes were like 23 minutes long. Yeah. So if you throw in commercials, you're talking a full 30 minutes. Per slot. And that's what I used to watch. But when they were up there on stage, the Cartoon Network guys were like, look, this is a new world. The younger generation now want to consume content in shorter form. So I was like, wow, all right. So they showcase some animation, and their animations are now like 8 to 10 minutes long. Not every single one. They do have more teenager-esque content as well, which is slightly longer. But generally speaking, it was short form. And you look at the social media platforms now. Twitter will only allow you to post in a certain amount of characters. Yeah. Well, you can post longer, but you'll have to click to make it longer. Yeah. Instagram videos, unless you put it onto its own reel and save it, if you post it as a normal posting, it'll be just maximum 1 minute as well. Look at TikTok. That's all short as well. Everything is short form. Because the biggest competitor for anybody who wants to create content is what else is being put out on a mobile phone. Yeah. Because the first thing you look at in the morning is your mobile phone. Probably the last thing you look at night would also be your mobile phone. And there's always content there.
But when you talk about short, right? Some of these, like, cause you do a lot of streaming for your video games and whatnot. That's not really short.
For me, streaming is different because it's not really a review. Streaming is people can just jump in and out. There's nothing too in-depth there either. It's just when you're playing a game, you can't make it 5 minutes if you're actually going to play it in real time. There's no editing there.
Yeah.
But when it comes to reviewing or previewing or creating a list of my favorite things, try not to go over 7 to 8 minutes long. I think that's already quite long-ish. I wouldn't mind going below 5 minutes, but I do want to add a little bit of depth and a bit of my own character into all the content we put out as well.
Yeah. So now between the movies and TV shows and the gaming and all that, which is the one that is closest to your heart, though? Which one do you like most to talk about?
Probably, I don't know. I mean, I didn't play like an absurd amount of video games because I went to boarding school. So we were very limited in what we can and cannot play with and at what time and how often. So probably the movies or the TV shows. It's finding it hard to separate the two. Maybe the TV shows, maybe.
Right.
Shows first, yeah.
But when you talk about video games, I mean, you said like boarding school, you didn't get to play a lot of it. The first game, though, that got you into it, like, damn, this is like the shit, you know?
I can't remember which is the first. I did do a video about it. The first video we ever put up was about the 5 games that shaped me.
Yeah.
But Aladdin, I've played that on the Game Gear. There are different versions of it. In fact, they re-released Aladdin as part of like this Disney morning collection. It comes with the Lion King. Both of those were really good. I also remember playing Outrun in the arcade.
Oh my god! Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah. And the girl would be having her hair shaking.
Yes, correct. And then this was the proper one, which had a very basic bucket seat, similar to what I'm sitting in now. You sit in it, and then you drive and you switch gears and all that.
Outrun.
I guess you could say Tetris as well, though I wasn't really that much into it. It would have to be a Game Boy game or a Super Nintendo game, but I can't remember which one specifically came first.
At what point do you like, because there's a lot of new stuff, everything, there's just always new stuff that's coming out. Will you on the show ever do like, because remember I texted you about there's this flea market in where I live, and I'm like, dude, there's like all these vintage games as well. Would you ever do like, let's try out some Game and Watch and see how fun those were?
I do have old consoles. That's the thing. So I a long time ago, I went online and I bought an N64 and a Mega Drive.
Nice.
So I've got some games for that. And I've got one of those emulation kits as well. So I can play a lot of games from a lot of different consoles. So yeah, why not? I mean, the first video, again, I actually played a little bit of Aladdin, and you can see in the background as I'm talking about the game. And I think I can't remember which version I played, but yeah, it was one of the old school early 90s versions.
That's brilliant. Because that's my thing right now. I'm just going back like really, really old school stuff. I really want to buy some of my old Game and Watches, like Fireman and Manhole, and then there's this saloon game where you're trying to shoot all the beer mugs that's coming from the bar.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Because I have that game on my phone, and it's like one of those emulators, right, which is brilliant. Because I remember getting into games like Pong and everything, and midway through I lost it. So, which is great. Watching your show, Geektopia, gets me like, oh my god, it's. I started meeting so many new people. I just had a chat with Natasha Tash Bubble, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So I just had
Tash Bunny.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's great. She screams like crazy and whatnot. I love watching her streams and everything. But how do you know which game to pick? Because games aren't cheap even just to buy, no?
No, they're not. But actually, you know what? They can be relatively cheap because nowadays everything is very much always on sale in some form or another. If you're on PlayStation, they'll give you free games every month as part of PlayStation Plus. So that's a cool thing. So maybe I'll address the games which are available there.
Yeah.
Like next month or whenever this is recorded, it'll be the month of February. Control is coming out. Control is one of the best games of the last few years. That's going to be free for anybody that has a PlayStation Plus subscription. Xbox, which isn't that popular here, but it's really popular in America, their model has changed. I don't think it's about making money from games. It's about making people pay a subscription like Netflix.
Right.
And then you get access to this huge library of games through Microsoft, through Xbox, which you can also play on Windows. So I think things are changing in terms of game prices. But I also like to bank on the nostalgia factor because like you said, you like the old school games. Even Peter Davis, who's also got his own show.
Yeah.
I know he likes his retro stuff. He builds and mods
I was
his own
supposed
stuff.
to give him my old PlayStations, but then I totally forgot about it. Someone wanted to buy it from me, and I just sold it, right? I'm like, damn, forgot about
it. He actually just put up a post. I think he was playing Streets of Rage or Golden Axe, one of the old school games. He put it on his Instagram stories about within the last 3 days. I can't remember specifically when. But where do we start? I've tried creating lists as well. So it's not in-depth, just one game review. Like I've done one, which will be released soon. It's about, for Valentine's Day, 5 games which couples can play together. But they're not more advanced games. They're not like FIFA, which is a 2-player game. It's not like Call of Duty, where you can get multiple people playing. It's more games which someone can pick up and learn in a few minutes, like Overcooked, any of the Mario games, like Mario Kart, the latest version, Super Mario Party, things like that. So more accessible. But the thing is, there's so many things to do. You can't make everybody happy.
Correct. Yeah, there's just so many games out there, you know?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And there's just more and more coming out. And last year was a huge year for video games because of lockdowns around the world. So what did people do? They went onto their consoles. They went onto their PCs. They went onto their phones and played and played and played. Among Us would be the best example of that, I reckon. It just blew up.
Among Us blew up, yeah, just everywhere.
Yeah, right? And I think people just sometimes had nothing to do, so they wanted to play games.
I actually wanted to do it, but good thing you brought up lockdown, because we are in MCO 2.0 right now. How's work been, man? I mean, like, because generally you used to travel like crazy. At one point, I saw you like once every 3 months only because you were just all over the place. How's work been?
I would say it's busier than it was before. That I'm actually doing more work now than I was in previous seasons because it's a shortened season. So because it's compressed, because games have already been cancelled, because games have been postponed, they're having to fit in games elsewhere. So I'm on almost every day now. Before this, it used to be predominantly just weekends.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we had a big weekday match. But now I was on last night. I got home at 8 a.m. I'm on again tonight. I'm going to get home again at around 7:30, 8 a.m. It's keeping us busy. But I feel that our content has been good because we've had to adjust accordingly. So before this, we would fly someone in and we would have them for the weekend. So they would do pretty much all the games. But now we can change guests every single match.
Yeah.
And we have done that because of Zoom.
And you got Ryan Giggs the other day, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we got Ryan Giggs for the FA Cup. So we've been able to mix and match a lot more than we have done previously. So trying to look at the brighter side of things. And I would say that we have gone beyond our expectations in terms of what's happened during quarantine.
Actually, on that though, how have the guests been, all your panelists, with getting onto Zoom? Because some of them are like old school, right?
Old school, but they're all already doing media work. And the UK is in a position which is a lot worse than ours. The amount of cases that they've had. And even though our population is half, the ratio is not the same. I think they're reaching 100,000 deaths.
Yeah.
Which is tragic. But when you compare it to Malaysia, we are in a much better space right now.
Yeah.
So they've had to embrace Zoom, and there are other applications you can use as well. They've had to embrace it a lot faster. A couple of them who are regulars on different networks or radio stations in the UK, when we first started using them, it wasn't great. But the networks over there have actually gone to their house and tuned it up, improved it, and we can reap the benefits of that.
Yeah. I mean, even us. I mean, look at us. I was broadcasting from home. You're broadcasting from home. We have like a complete setup these days, or like a little mini studio and everything, right? But life at home during MCO, how's that been?
Life at home is okay. I mean, another aspect of work is, before this, I would never do interviews with players unless I was there in the UK. So they have this thing where Premier League clubs have to nominate a player or manager every single match day and make them available to be interviewed. So you apply. If it's someone really big, if it's a United player or Liverpool, they can't accommodate everybody. So they'll select a few, and then those 4 or 5 media reps will interview whoever it is. Before this, it would only happen when I'm in the UK for a month. So I would do the matches on weekends, and then Monday to Friday, depending on who it is, I might go to Leicester United's training ground, Liverpool, and interview a player. Now we can do it here because Premier League are offering it via Zoom.
Yeah.
So
I watched some of that. That's great stuff, man. And they seem so relaxed.
Yes. So I always try to make them relax, always try to make them feel a little bit more comfortable. And now we're able to do these interviews here from Malaysia all the way in the UK. And even last year, we've never done this before. Although they have stopped it, but during Project Restart, which was that's what they termed the
after the 100 days since March.
So that's where they brought back the Premier League. It was called Project Restart. We were allowed to interview a player or the managers live after the game through the internet. So they would hear my question down the line. They wouldn't see me, and they would answer in real time. That was great. They're not doing it right now because reporters are allowed back into the stadium, but at that point, no reporters were allowed there either. So everything had to be via Zoom, and we were allowed to do it from Malaysia as well.
Not that you're so used to doing it this way, though. When things open up again, and then you have to do it, you have to do the traveling thing all over again, go up. Are you excited? Are you looking forward to it? Are you wondering, I don't know how things are going to be. Is it still going to be safe?
I'm sure that, the UK... I hope will be fixed soon. And I think it's going to take a very, very long time. They've already announced that their lockdown, which I think started before ours, they've already announced it's going to go on to at least March 8th. So I don't think anything's going to happen this season. If anything, it'll be next season. But you cannot predict what's going to happen with COVID-19. So I generally don't know. But one thing I will say is being there allows for a change of scenery and background, and it feels more refreshing. Every weekend, every match day is different.
But you were exhausted, man, the traveling.
Yeah, but I was doing a lot of radio at the same time.
Yeah.
So the final year of traveling, I didn't do radio, so it was a lot easier.
Yeah.
I wasn't having to fly
there
back
for like weeks on end, and I text you and like, where are you? Out in a different town, all over the place.
Yeah, we would travel a lot in the UK. I mean, their train system is pretty efficient. It's expensive, but it is efficient. So the most packed day I took was Burnley, which is north of Manchester. So it's really far north. We had to go I interviewed someone in Manchester. Then I took a train, which is only about half an hour, 45 minutes to Burnley. Then I had to take a train to the south, the coast, Bournemouth, to interview Eddie Howe. And that took 5 hours. This was the day that Tottenham made it to the Champions League final. I still remember that. Because the night before, I was in Manchester watching the Liverpool-Barcelona game. And then the next day I had to be back in Manchester to interview someone from Man City. So it was like 5 hours on train for a 10-minute interview, 5 hours on the train back for another 10-minute interview.
That's a day, man. And of course you would remember that would be the day that Tottenham actually got into the Champions League because you're a hardcore Spurs fan.
By the end, we're the only ones in the carriage. So we were relying on the internet, which would drop in and out because the train's going at high speed, to see what was happening. It was the only way to stay in touch. There was no TVs, nothing there. It's just Twitter or websites.
When you look at a list of people that you've had a chat with, all these football stars, football personalities, the players, the coaches, the managers, like, how do you pick and choose who was like, this was the best interview, this was the funnest and everything? Who's the most interesting you've ever had a chat with?
Define interesting.
Like peculiar, interesting, like it was like a Zlatan kind of thing. When you ask him questions, the strangest answers would come up, and you're like, okay,
Nobody has really done that. I think Zlatan puts it on for show.
Yeah.
I think the only one that would possibly live up to that reputation, I've never spoken to him, would be Cantona. I think he's really like that. Yeah. But most of the guys are very, very normal. There's nothing different about them. They're very much like you and I. It's just that we know them from TV and they're big stars. But no, they're all okay. A lot of them are very new to TV, and what I like to see is them improving over time. So there's quite a few who weren't that great when they started, but they evolve into something better. And I've spoken to a few of them, and they just said, we're not trained to know what to do after a career, after football finishes. Yeah. So they need guidance. They need to know what works on TV. They need to know when to jump in. They need to know how strong an opinion to give. A lot of them won't want to annoy former teammates. Yeah. A lot of them are club ambassadors. So they are careful in what they say.
Like sometimes I watch Carragher and Neville go at some of their ex-teammates or you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know how do they get like phone calls from their friends and say, we heard what you said. You know what I mean? It's a bit tough, right?
Well, yeah, I think I've asked a few of them about this, and they've all said the same thing. A player will know when they've had a bad game. They don't need to be told. And because of that, they should be able to acknowledge that they are going to be criticized on TV, even if it's or radio, even if it's from a friend, because they did make a mistake or they didn't play well. They didn't put in enough effort. They're well aware of that already. So they can't have too much to complain about because everyone's talking about it anyway.
Yeah. Who's the funniest though that you've ever spoken
funniest?
to? Player.
Who is the funniest?
Oh, no, not necessarily player. I mean, even like a manager.
Funniest. A lot of them like sending me memes after the show and stuff. Like Dave Kitson, the redhead guy.
Yeah.
He just sent one to me about an hour ago, as a matter of fact. Some of them on TV. The one I'm looking forward to tonight, which by the time this airs would have already gone on, is Harry Redknapp, because he's a great storyteller. He won I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here.
Right.
So I'm predicting that he will be the funniest. Because based on everything I've seen of him on TV, he is hilarious.
All right. Now, because you say you like watching them improve and after their playing career, who's the most improved that you've ever worked with?
I think someone like Emil Heskey, because when Emil Heskey first came down, and I've told this to him, it's no secret, he was still a player. He was still active in Australia. So I don't think he was comfortable sharing too much, but he's come along leaps and bounds. It's such a pleasure to work with him. I've been clear with that with him as well. Michael Brown is another one, ex-Man City, Tottenham, Sheffield United. He was fresh off the boat as a player into the punditry world, and he's improved so much. But it's like any job. It really is. A lot of the guys I work with, it's not their first time, but anybody that does something in a new job for the first time isn't going to be amazing at it. It does take time to get that experience and instinct and knowing what to do. So anybody who I've worked with and it's their first time, I would say that they're probably not the greatest.
Yeah.
But all of them so far have improved so much with constant practice.
How do you deal with everything like right now? Because sometimes even when we're doing this, we're at home and then we're dealing with internet connections that are just dodgy and everything. You ask a question and sometimes, because this is like they're in the UK, you ask them a question and then the clock's ticking, second half is coming up and then their internet connection dies. Has that ever happened?
Yeah, that's happened. That's why I'm in the studio. That's why I don't operate from home when it comes to the live games. I still do my interviews of the players on a weekday in this exact setup, just with a different background. But when it comes to live matches, we need a backup. So unless worst comes to the worst for COVID and quarantining, then I will continue going to the studio. But that's the only place I go to apart from the grocery store right now. Yeah. So I'm in the studio. If anything does happen, at least I can throw the commercial break. At least I can continue the discussions. We've had one pundit, there was a power cut apparently across the country or his city, according to him. So we still have one other pundit on the line. Another time we lost connection with both pundits because it was an internet problem on our end. Right. So I had to continue talking and then throw to commercial break while they tried to fix it. But you learn to deal with it. As long as you're well prepared, as long as you got facts and figures at hand that you can spiel off, then you should be all right.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to Geektopia, man. All right, because you watch a ton of TV and movies. What are you watching right now on Netflix or Amazon Prime? What's your flavor of the month?
I have this thing where I like to watch older stuff before I go to sleep. I don't know why. I don't watch anything new.
How old is old?
It does vary. It does vary a lot. Like I'll go through like an entire batch of seasons for one show in particular. Like it's been Friends, it's been Family Guy, it's been The Simpsons. It's been a whole bunch of shows. Yeah. But when I'm actually awake and I'm able to focus, that's when I'll watch the newer stuff like Lupin. So that's at time of recording.
What's that?
Lupin is how it's spelled, but Lupin is how you pronounce it in French.
Right.
Have you heard of it?
No, not yet. No, I haven't really had time to watch a lot of shows, which is why I'm really looking forward to watching everything that you do on Geektopia, especially when it comes to TV shows. So I'm like, I gotta watch this. So I'm like you. I've been watching I watched Community. I finished watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Friends and Big Bang Theory and stuff like that. Right? Nothing new except Dark. And Dark's not an easy show to watch. You really need to focus.
I binge watched Dark. Yeah. I just binge watched it, and it was really fun. Really, really good show. But Lupin is the newest one, which has taken over. You not heard of it? Lupin?
What's it about?
It's based on a actual book in real life. It was quite popular in French culture, so most people in France would know Lupin. Lupin. It's like this gentleman thief, burglar, and it became quite famous around the world because it was an anime. I think it started in the 70s, the very late 70s. Lupin the Third, which the anime says is the grandson of the original one, which is from the books. So that's still going strong. They're still releasing movies. So the TV show is a new interpretation of Lupin, set in the modern day. And it's only 5 episodes, so they like to call their seasons parts, right? Like Money Heist Part 1, Money Heist
Right, yeah.
So it's the same thing. So it's Lupin Part 1, which is only 5 episodes. What else am I watching? The one I'm watching right now when I go to sleep is Hustle. Do you remember Hustle?
Which one is Hustle?
It's a British show from, I think it started around 2003-ish.
Okay.
2004, I think.
Right.
It ran for 8 years. And it's like Ocean's 11, but in London.
Oh, nice.
And it's very slick. It's very well shot. There's usually a twist at the end of every episode about how everything came together. The audience is never fully aware of what the storyline is. Things are purposely kept close to their chest, and then everything is revealed at the end. It's got Robert Vaughn, the man from U.N.C.L.E.
Nice. Okay.
So he plays like the elder con man in it.
Right. Actually, I love watching a lot of the British series especially because I watch like Bodyguard, right? And I thought it was great. Also, there's an old one. What detective is it? It stars. Remember Tommy from Snatch?
Yes.
Are
you thinking of Line of Duty?
In the Line of Duty, exactly.
Line of Duty. Yeah.
That was brilliant. I was like, damn, I just started watching it, and I couldn't stop looking at him. And I'm like, it's Tommy.
Yeah.
From Snatch.
Yeah. He was in one of the seasons. They just started shooting the new one.
Yeah,
I got into that because I didn't know much about it, but when I was in the UK once, one of the key things is who is M. M is the big
yes,
bad.
exactly. So I was wondering, was it the boss? Right.
You don't know, and we still don't know. So every paper, like the equivalent to TV guide over there, had like who is M, who is M. I was like, what is the show? So then I binge watched. Oh, someone in the background.
That's my wife.
Hello. And I just ended up binge watching it. Line of Duty a lot.
I like that. Did you binge watch Mandalorian as well?
Yes, both seasons. I didn't watch season 1 when it first came out. By the time I watched season 1,
I mean, because we couldn't because we don't have Disney Plus here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So
I watched it elsewhere, overseas.
I read about it. Are you excited about Disney Plus coming to Malaysia though?
Yeah. So like my ex-boss is now with Disney. He's up.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm very happy for him. That was a big bit of news. But yeah, no, they've got a lot of content. I think Netflix and Disney will be the big boys because of the library of content which they have. So Disney own the rights to Marvel, to their own Disney films. Yeah. People forget they've bought things like Fox already.
Yeah.
You know, like The Simpsons and all of that are now under them. Deadpool. Yeah. The only thing which they can't distribute, I believe, is Spider-Man because that's still owned by Sony. Yeah. But that's about it. They've got everything. And it looks like every single week this year, we're going to get a new episode of something. So WandaVision has started. Then they're going to have the Falcon and the Winter
Soldier. Yeah.
What If? There's all the Star Wars stuff as well.
Yeah.
There's the Boba Fett one, the Book of Boba Fett. There's the Mandalorian. So I think I think
there's Obi-Wan coming as well.
Yes. So there's Obi-Wan as well.
Yeah.
Not sure if that will be released this year or next year, but they've got stuff lined up to the max. And Netflix is the other one. Netflix, on top of the TV shows, they said they're going to be releasing a movie every week this year. And it looks like some weeks going to have 2 movies.
Because it's just how it's going to be. I mean, like cinemas, dude, I'm not going to go to any cinema anytime soon. So the best way to do this would be through streaming services, right? Because I've been trying to watch I like a lot of stuff on Prime, right? So I got Prime, but now I'm like, no, because movies are coming out. Like Top Gun 2 was they're thinking about releasing it on some streaming platform as well, because that's the way it is. But then I wanted to watch Wonder Woman, and everybody's like saying, "Nah, it's not as good as the first one." Did you watch the second one?
I did, yeah. I watched Wonder Woman. They are right. It's not as good.
Cause I'm like, Cheetah, really?
Yeah.
Why Cheetah?
I mean, it is a villain from the Wonder Woman comics, but I don't think that she looked that great. Looked like from Cats. You know how badly that was reviewed. Yeah. So it looked a bit like that. But it's interesting you bring up Wonder Woman because for me, but just behind Netflix and Disney would be HBO
Max.
Yeah, so they are releasing this entire year, like all the films which are coming out in cinema, they will still release in the cinema, but only in America, unless you have a VPN.
I think even Swamp Thing might be rerouted towards HBO Max because they're going to redo it, and James Wan wants to do it again. Because I freaking love Swamp Thing, right? And then they stopped it. I'm like, what the fuck's going on there, right? So I'm so glad HBO has a lot of good stuff, though. But movies...
Well, that's the thing. HBO are releasing their movies same day online as the cinema now.
Yeah.
For the entire year.
The cinemas.
Depends on the country, because releasing it online will only be available for those in the US.
Yeah.
Whereas they can still release it in cinemas within the US if anyone's willing to go and if they're open, and across the world. A lot of countries now are down to single digits or zero figures for COVID-19.
So people can go to the cinema.
People can go to the cinemas there. They still release Wonder Woman in China.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
And it didn't do very well, which was surprising. But don't underestimate how big a deal that is, because I think the entire industry is watching to see if this model works.
Yeah.
So there were a couple of movies released last year which did really well on streaming platforms. Some of them you would have to, if I remember, one of the ones, I think Trolls 2 or something, you would buy it.
Right.
Like you would buy a movie ticket and then you'd be able to stream it at home. Might be wrong on the movie, but it did pretty well. Wonder Woman and Warner Brothers, HBO, you don't have to pay for the movies. It'll be part of your HBO subscription already.
Package, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But
what are you looking forward to watching the movies wise?
Wait, before I forget my point, they just announced today that there was a huge increase in subscriptions, and a lot of it had to do with Wonder Woman being released. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know if the other industry players will take note and say, it seems to be working for them. Maybe it's something we should focus on. Because there's another one which isn't available here called Peacock, which in America has Peacock is like NBC. So they've bought out.
Oh, right, okay.
They've bought out WWE rights in America.
Fuck,
so
no,
the WWE
serious?
app is basically being transferred to Peacock. So they've got this vast library as well. And then there's Apple TV, which has their own content. So there's so many different streaming platforms now. What was the question just now?
Like movies. What are you looking forward to watching?
What? Just from HBO or in general?
Or anything that might be coming out, might not be coming out. Because I was like, I can't wait to watch Maverick. Then I don't know when the hell that's coming out.
Top Gun Maverick. I don't know what to expect this year, because now they're saying they might delay James Bond again.
Yes, exactly.
And they might have to reshoot some scenes, because you get product placement in movies, and Bond is a big thing of that. So you'll see it in the ads after, like him holding the phone or the watch, whatever gadget
or
it is.
Or the car, for crying out loud. By the time it comes out, it's like, that's an old model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently upon viewing it, they're not very happy that these are really old models, because the movie, it's due to come out in mid-year, which would make it a full 365 days delayed, I think. So technology grows very fast. It develops very fast. So you can get lost in 3 months, let alone a full year. Yeah. So they might have to reshoot scenes. They might delay it as well. I don't know. But Suicide Squad, the new take on it, that should be quite fun. There's a new Tom and Jerry movie coming out in February, animated one.
Do they talk?
No.
Thank God.
I know they made a movie in the 90s where they did talk.
Yeah, that's. I'm sorry. Like Pink Panther, Tom and Jerry should not talk. I've been watching some of the old cartoons. I'm like, what the fuck's that about? The
one I'm actually really looking forward to seeing, initially it was supposed to be a mini series of 4 episodes, I think, would Justice League. Not Scott, he's the writer. Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder's proper Justice League.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how it's going to look, because there's so much hype behind it over the past, 3-4 years. And people are huge advocates that it should be released. It has to be released in the form that it was originally meant to come out in. Now that we're going to get it in March, let's see if it lives up to it or not.
Yeah, because I watched the original director's cut, which was slightly longer. I was like, there are a lot of bits where you go, that makes a lot more sense now.
The one you're thinking of is Batman v Superman. So
what's that, Batman v Superman?
The Ultimate Edition was the director's cut.
Yeah, right.
And they actually showed Clark Kent investigating.
Correct. Yeah.
Which they didn't have in the theatrical release.
Yeah. So the Justice League one apparently is darker. It's a bit more. It's grittier.
Yeah. So
Longer though.
They reshot a lot.
Yeah.
They reshot a lot with the original theatrical release when Josh Whedon took charge.
Right.
So the color palette was completely changed. If you see the original trailer versus what came out, they brought the actors back, and there was that huge scandal with
the mustache.
Henry Cavill, the mustache.
Yeah.
You could see that Ben Affleck had put on weight, so he looked a bit puffy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a train wreck. It really was. And what was promised in that movie just never delivered. So the one which is coming out, I'm not sure how well it's going to work, although since we can watch it at home, 4 hours. It's a long movie, man.
Yeah.
4 hours.
There's like a Lord of the Rings kind of thing going on.
It is. There. Well, that's another one they're going to be remaking. They're making a TV show through
I don't
Amazon.
know how I feel about that, though.
No,
you know?
I don't know what stories they're going to tell. Are they going to basically remake the original trilogy? What's it going to be? Because they paid a lot of money for the rights. They paid the Tolkien family a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot.
Are we going to watch Samwise the Brave? Like, it's going to be a spin-off completely all about Samwise Gamgee. I'm like, come on, dude. Really? You're like flogging a dead horse over there. I love the original ones, but let's just leave it as is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just trying to think of other cases where you think, oh, I think it's done, but they managed to breathe new life into it. Better Call Saul. You would think that, oh, it's all done in the world of Hey, did I just swear? In the world of Breaking Bad, but it wasn't the case. There was more to it.
No, but then in some cases, like MacGyver, they brought MacGyver back, Magnum PI and Miami Vice. I'm like, oh, dude, don't,
well,
you know?
There's a new one, which is Walker, Texas Ranger. Now they've got...
yes!
Apparently it's bad.
Take over?
Jared, I don't know how to say his surname.
Padalecki.
Padalecki, is that how you say it?
From
Supernatural.
Supernatural, yeah.
Yeah, apparently it's not great.
I was like,
it really isn't great.
Because it's Chuck Norris, you know?
Yeah.
When Chuck Norris does a push-up, he doesn't do a push-up, he pushes the earth down. That's Chuck Norris.
That's the proper Chuck Norris.
Right.
But this one is apparently very different. Oh, you know what? A best example of expanding on a universe which looks like a dead horse, Mandalorian. Because all the recent Star Wars content that's come out has been pretty lousy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Mandalorian breathed new life into it.
Brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you never know. I mean, I'm enjoying WandaVision because they're taking a risk with WandaVision.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is actually pretty good. It's so different from everything that we've experienced from Marvel. You would think the stories have been told of Vision because he died, but he's in it.
Yet
and
here he is.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch. So I don't know if they interpreted it in an entertaining way, then I don't see why they can't make it
in a different way. It's like Battlestar Galactica back in the day when they redid the series and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there are cases whereby existing IPs can be spun in a new and entertaining way.
Okay, fine. New stories, but I'm really touchy about the whole remake thing because some of it is just like, I don't really like it.
I don't know much about, they haven't revealed much about what the storyline is going to be about with that I know of anyway. I might be wrong about Lord of the Rings. So we'll see. Yeah.
There's going to be so much for you to talk about, man, Geektopia. It sounds fun. You're obviously going to do a lot of tech stuff. You're going to be talking about phones. You're going to be talking about little gadgets. Have you bought any new gadgets recently?
Well, there'll be this, right? It'll be the PS5.
Yeah.
So this is the one I've been playing a lot. No, I haven't
mine
really.
Comes in like 2 months though. I still got to wait 2 months. I don't know why.
Did you actually pre-order it?
Yeah. No, I mean, I recently just walked into a Gamer's Hideout and I just bought it and they said 2 months. I think because MCO. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever.
You know, the last batch which came in January, I think couple of thousand people registered for the pre-order. They're only about 30 units.
Oh my god!
So I watched it online. They had a lucky draw to see who would be able to purchase it.
Yeah,
because the response was overwhelming. I think it might have been 4,000.
I don't know whether I'm going to get mine in 2 months then.
Yeah, this supply and demand. That's why scalpers are doing so well right now because people want it and they're charging way too much.
Yeah.
Like,
or you can buy something online and then you get a picture of a PS5.
Yes,
right?
yes. You have to read the terms and conditions properly. Like I went into one shop the day before I bought my PS5, which I did get from Gamers Hideout. I got it for the original price. But the day before, I happened to be in the same shopping complex, and I saw one gaming shop upstairs, and they had 2 PS5s there, the digital version, the disc version, and I was like, oh, how much is it? 4,500. That is an extra 2,000 ringgit.
I know exactly, right?
Yeah, it's way too much. But those are the scalper prices.
Yeah.
So
well, if you want it badly, you'll pay it, right? But man, I'm looking forward to Geektopia because there's so much to know. It's just hard to get around that whole world and everything. But I'm very excited. But dude, because it's the Jantan Collective, we've been talking about coming up with this thing for so long. For how long? 10 years you've been talking about wanting to do this?
Something like that.
Yeah. Are you excited about the Jantan Collective? What do you need? What do you think Jantans need right now?
Of course, very exciting because you're working with friends as well. Like there's a guy who's not in shot, he's not on screen. But if you read up about
listening in right now,
he's listening in right now. But if you read up about Jantan Collective, then you would see his face there. But we've known him for a long time. I used to live with him.
Yeah.
I've known for a very long time as well. Peter, I've met I don't know him nearly as well as I know you or Chief Jantan, but really nice guy. And there's other people behind the scenes who we've known for a long time, including another guy that I used to live with. So, of course, working with friends, first and foremost, I think it's a lot of fun. And for all of us, it's a passion project because we're not incentivized by money.
Yeah,
when it
we're
comes
not making any.
We're not making any money. In fact, anything that's come out has been put in through our own pocket.
Yeah.
So you could definitely say it's from the heart. And I think proof is in the pudding because there's no cash incentives involved. I think that's the most important thing for me. And what do Jantans need? I think it's very subjective. I think everybody is different, but just a means of communication. I think we tend to keep things to our chest a lot. Keep how we're feeling hidden inside, and hopefully this will inspire people to talk about things and the issues, particularly from you and what you're doing and the discussions that you have and the topics you bring up could be very relevant or already just relate and be relatable.
Kind of heavy. Watching. The stuff I do, it's really
but it's interesting as well. And for some people, it might not affect them, but for others, and I'm sure there are a lot, it would have a real effect. So you just got to keep discovering new things which might help someone out there. I think that's the thing. If it can help one person, then it's your job done, really.
Do you feel like guys or Jantans these days were walking on eggshells a lot? Because I think it's great because women empowerment and whatnot. I think it's just equal rights for everyone, but also because like people like Trump, you know, of what he says, the things he says, and it's like such a locker room talk kind of stuff. Because of him, do you think we need to be on our toes a lot now? Because women are like, men are all scum, you know?
I think in every situation, there's always the ultras. So the ultras on one side would be those that are believers of Trump and what he says. But then there's a lot of ultras on the other side who believe that every single guy out there sucks, which I think is also unfair. So two wrongs don't make a right. But I would like to think that the vast majority of people are not on such polar opposite sides and can see reason and can have discussions, be open to discussions. Because nowadays, because of mobile phones, we tend to live very much in an echo chamber. Like you are friends with your friends on Facebook, people who most likely think like you do. Same on Twitter. You will follow people who you only like. I try to follow people who don't have the same beliefs as me, just so I could see what was being said. It was really interesting during the US election. Right. That was interesting to see because I was constantly refreshing my Twitter feed and I was hearing both sides of the story there. And a lot of them were extreme views, yes, but it was still fascinating for me to see. I just think it's important people don't live in an echo chamber, male or female. Be open to ideas, be open to conversation, discourse, and dialogue.
What do you think we can be doing better?
Listening to others.
Right.
Just listen to what others have to say. Don't think you're always right. I think we've lost that. Everyone's so argumentative. Everybody, even now, I go into my Facebook, and because I like to see what other people are saying, I don't delete anybody off it, even if their opinions are a bit, that's a bit clashing with mine. I have a few COVID deniers, and
and anti-vaxxers, they've started coming out all over the place.
So there's a lot of talk that Bill Gates is behind this.
Really?
Governments around the world have all come together. You know how they have that Davos meeting, right? So that's where they're deciding what to do with COVID. I mean, this is next level conspiracy theories. I saw one guy wrote that is it a coincidence that Alien Covenant and Prometheus was taken off because it involves genetic engineering?
Holy
Netflix?
shit, serious.
And I was just like, I didn't say anything. I didn't comment. I was just like, not going to say his name either, just in case. But I was like, okay. Well, that's his opinion. Fair enough. I disagree. I believe more in licensing rights expiring, but that's
exactly.
me. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting coincidence. I never thought about it that way, though. That's hilarious.
So I do see things like this, and there's some people who will post every single day that this is a scam. Vaccines in general are a scam. They've got microchips inside. Even though you can't make a microchip that small to track you, it can be injectable into your body, but sure. Okay.
It's funny because I have the same thing. Because I have an uncle, I have a relative in the US who's like so pro-Trump, though. I'm like, really? But then, hey, it's his right to support whoever the hell he wants to support.
Looking at and reading a lot of articles on that side of the spectrum, the right side of the spectrum, I think that a lot of them supported Trump on paper, but they didn't necessarily believe in what he says. They were just tired of being constantly suppressed. They felt suppressed themselves because media in America tends to be very left-wing, tends to be more liberal. So I think they felt very oppressed, very much under the thumb. And that's why they voted for Trump, because it was the only viable alternative.
Yeah. To get their voices heard, right?
To get their voices heard. And they might not believe in everything that Trump says. The hardcore ones who stormed the Capitol are a different story, but almost half America still voted for Trump in the election. Yeah. Let's not forget that. It's not like it was
really, really slim margin, man. For the outsider, it was really exciting to watch. I wonder what's going to happen here, man. Because is it going to be Man United or is it going to be Man City?
Yes. It was so close. It was, and that's why I think people forgetting that, rubbing it in their faces. I don't know what's going to happen in 4 years' time in the next election. So I think it's a real balance. I don't think you can be too left wing, and I don't think you can be too right wing. One leads to the rise of the other. The rise of populism was when Trump and Boris Johnson got elected.
That's true.
Happened. The rise of populism.
The rise of bad-haired leaders.
Yeah, terribly.
How in the world did two of them get in there, man? But dude, it was so great talking to you, man. I mean, like, there's just so much more that we can talk about. How many more episodes of Geektopia will be coming out soon? Because you've just got a really busy schedule, man.
I've already shot most of February. So yeah, I'm trying to think. There's always stuff to do. There's always different content. There's so many ways to spin things. It doesn't have to be reviews. Like I said earlier, sometimes I do lists, like 5 games that changed me, 5 movies I'm looking forward to this year, or TV shows, 5 games that couples can play together. There's always a different way of doing things. So it's not always about reviews. It's not always about watching me game. We try to shake things up and offer a variety of content. So never stops.
All right. Check out Geektopia with Adam Carruthers, right here on the Jantan Collective. Adam, thanks so much for chatting, man.
Thank you for having me, buddy. All the best. Get some rest, because I know you've got to wake up early.
Exactly. I do this at night, and I do another thing early in the morning. I'm like, so much stuff. And this is the really only way that we catch up often. But the moment MCO is done, the moment all this is cleared, I think all of us Jantan should just meet up and have a couple of drinks, man.
I think that works for me as well. And actually, I'll be on TV at the same time that you on radio. So
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to, I watch you get the results, and after that, I announce it on air. My God.
There you go. Yeah. So should be fun. I'll see you at work, buddy.
Ciao, buddy.
See ya. Bye.
See ya. Always a great chat with Adam C. I've known the guy for years. Go check out his new show, Geektopia. But thank you for watching this edition of What's Up With That. Like, subscribe, and also comment below. We want to hear from you. Of course, we always have new things to talk about right here. Click on the bell button to get all the latest notifications of who we're going to be chatting with next on another edition of What's Up With That. My name is Jason Desmond from the Jantan Collective. And as usual, remember, don't be a dick.